Hey guys, Justin here. Quick note, sorry for the late upload. There's actually some cool stuff that goes into the Atlanta race here, so it's a little more than meets the eye in terms of just a super speedway. But on that note, I'm not going to be doing a guide on the C-Fix this week, and I'm just going to be making another video to release on Thursday instead. All right, let's get right to it.
32.403.
All right, so we'll go over the Atlanta qualifying here, not slow motioned or anything because there's not that much to go over. So outlap, you just honestly don't even worry about where you're running until off of turn 2 of your first lap. So once you're off of turn 2 of your first lap, now we're going to start caring about where we put our car to keep up momentum. So I like to start with my right sides on the seam here and then let the car kind of naturally slide up that half a lane that you get if you don't turn the steering wheel. And then you see it kind of slides up a little bit, but I'm not really adding any more steering input. And then we just kind of let it go off of there. So now I want to talk about some strategies. So there's two things you can do and they're almost exactly equal, but I think I like this way better. So the first way is just mega cut the apron, pretty much just all the way through like this. I think that's all right, but it's a little more inconsistent because of how you hit bumps and how that affects your speed. The second is to cross at the start finish line and cut the apron just from there. That's pretty good. I like it a lot, but I just could not get it to beat just staying up and carrying my momentum. You see, I lose 300 on the very start, but I have marginal more speed from not having to make all that extra steering that it takes from getting to the bottom. And I just carry that for the entire lap. And it just seems like even in 3 and 4, I'm still carrying a speed difference. And it just beats the first method just slightly. Okay, and then, so the last big thing about your exit here is that a lot of times I preach, actually, let's go back because I'll preach it at first. So when you have a full straightaway to drive on a super speedway, you want to let your car slide up the track as far as it needs to go without killing its momentum. And how do you kill its momentum? You add more steering wheel. So a lot of people's first instinct is to turn the wheel more to cut more of that apron or more of the bottom line and lower your distance. But that doesn't work very well because it actually hurts your momentum and you lose the time that you gained there for the entire straightaway and the rest of the lap. So here, I'm actually just letting the car slide up almost all the way to the wall. And we were just carrying a bunch of momentum. But now you don't want to arc back down the track on entry. So now our straightaway, we have to make basically a straight line from where we are to entry. So we make a straight line. And then we enter 3 and 4 as straight and as low as possible. And we just hold it down there. And now for 3 and 4, since we're only going half the straightaway to get to the start finish line, and we're going to cut the apron here, now that means that I don't have to pin my car or I don't have to let my car slide up the track because the momentum that we keep can't overcome the distance that we cut and also only going half the straightaway. So now instead of letting the car slide up to the wall, we're going to just hold it down on the white line as smoothly as possible. And then the moment we exit the corner, we make a straight line where this grass is right here between us and the start finish line. So I cut almost immediately, get down as much as possible. So you see, I wasn't able to get all the way down here. And the reason that is because I would have had used too much steering wheel, and that would have killed my speed as well. So that just didn't seem to get me much extra distance by cutting all the way down here. It might have gotten me marginal, but it was probably even by the time we get back to the start finish line because of the speed that I would lose. So you see here, and you see I'm losing speed because of how much little momentum I have off the corner. You see it's starting to go red, but it doesn't have enough time to lose all that time because we're only going half the straightaway. And also we're not driving another half a lap with the speed that we carry. So I think the moral of the story is on super speedways, you want to maximize your momentum until you get to the final bit, and that's when you can start getting creative. All right, so we did the race here, and we ended up finishing in the top 5. You see we didn't quite get the win, and you see there was a tie for the win, which was crazy. But we'll get to that in a little bit. What I really want to emphasize is a couple things. First off, you really want to be towards the front at the beginning, because when a wreck happens at a super speedway in Arca, you're just not making it through, especially in this narrow of a track, without completely parking your car. And you can choose to do that, but just know that when you do that, you're probably just banking in a 7th place finish or so. So if you want to have a shot at the win, you really got to start at the front, or at least make your way up to the front at the very beginning. And then the farther back you start, the riskier it is to get up to the front early. So that's why I'm saying that you really need to learn this qualifying and get up front, because starting in 3rd made things a lot easier for me. So what we did here was, well, let's go into a different camera here. And so on lap 1, it was pretty normal, 2 wide racing. But then by lap 2, people are already making it 3 wide, which is good that it can work, but there's a different element here, and you can see I actually let off the throttle in the corner. So tires are going to be a factor. If you have bad tires at the end of the race, you're going to really struggle to do anything at the end of the race. You'll be able to stay in the draft most likely, but you won't be able to push for any wins or something. You'll just get super duper tight in the corner. So I actually let out of the throttle in the entry of every corner and just try to keep it as low as possible, or at least on my line. So we'll see here, even into this corner, I really back off a lot to get it to the white line. And that's basically the kind of tire saving that we're doing. If I was able to go from high to low and kind of be able to drive my way up the corner and not have to pin it off the corner, that would save even more tire, but it's more important to be in the front, in my opinion. So we'll skip ahead here to the big wreck that you guys all want to see probably. So coming into lap 8, just a 3 wide move, people get together, and it literally just takes the entire field out behind. Everyone's beating and banging, trying to get through, and everyone's just trying to make their way through. People even getting spun at the end. But that was an 18-20 car wreck right there. And basically, if you weren't in the front 4 cars at the beginning, you weren't making it through. So that's really why I say you got to be at the front. All right, so basically from there, we just spend the rest of the laps tire saving. Like, I didn't push any issues. And honestly, what I learned was that once you get in a small pack with the single file line, if there's only 3 or 4 cars here, you actually do want to be in the front couple, because it's very hard to make a pass on the outside without a lot of momentum, even with a slight tire advantage like I had. So you see, we were even getting to the end of the race, and we got into a pack with a bunch of lap cars, but they were all polite enough to not really push the issue. And so what happened was, coming to the last lap, I'm pushing Sean here, and I'm like, okay, I can bank into 3rd place probably if I just stay on his bumper. Or what I can do is I can try to make it 3 wide on the outside for the final turn and somehow pull off some miraculous miracle move. So, you know, we're here for the content, so I try it on the outside. We do our best, but at the end of the day, it just slides up into the wall. So, that's alright. We get our 4th place. No incidents. Basically, here, watch this. Look at this finish right here. Look at it. Look at that. Look at that finish. That's crazy. The 32 beat the 3 here by a couple pixels, it looks like. Less than a thousandth of a second. So that was a great finish. Even 3 wide on the apron going under. But still happy to get a top 5. Always good to come away without an X in one of these races. And I really do think that you're stacking the deck in your favor if you start out in front and you're able to hold it there for the first few laps. And then once the pack breaks up after a wreck, then do whatever you gotta do. Hang in the back of that pack. Maybe try to lead that pack. It's more of a free-flowing situation at that point. But those are just my recommendations. If something else works better for you, then that probably will work the best every time. Like if you are say, okay, I want to get 10th place because that's really for my safety rating and it's free I rating. Well, if you just hang way off the back and essentially just park it for wrecks, you're probably going to get around 10th place. So that could be something that you want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But anyways, this looks to be a bit of a fun track actually, so I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.